Hey everyone, it's Adam here from Ads Productions, and this is the review of the Synology DS720 Plus NAS drive. This is more of an overview than a review, but you'll get the point. So let's start off with the design of the NAS drive. Across the Synology line, and among the NAS drives themselves, they have a familiar look about them, and none of them actually stick out like a sore thumb, and they're all in a kind of uniform design. You'll be very familiar with Synology if you've heard of NAS drives. The way they look is very similar across the board. On the side of the Synology 720 Plus NAS drive, you have the usual Synology branding that acts as a ventilation for the device itself. There are also two drive bays which can be locked and unlocked with the included key, which give it more of an enterprise feel because you can just lock it and not worry about the drives being stolen. Although, realistically speaking, it doesn't matter if you lock the trays or not, somebody could just take the whole NAS drive, but that's a different story for another day. I think it's an excellent idea just to have a lock on the trays to give it that more of a premium feel. Both of the drive bays do feature the toolless design. We've all been there trying to screw in various drives and things like that, and then you drop a screw and it just becomes too fiddly for its own good. Toolless design is definitely the way to go when it comes to NAS drives, and I'm very glad they've chosen to do this with the 720 Plus. You've then obviously got the power button on the front that gives the machine life, and if we slowly work our way up, we have the USB 3 port and 3 status lights, one for each of the disks and an overall status light. The front facing USB port is very handy because you can do, for example, a scheduled backup where you take an external hard drive, you plug it in because you know that every Wednesday it does a scheduled backup, and then on Thursday morning you can take the drive out and quickly send it to wherever it's stored, whether it's an offsite backup or just to a customer. I like having the inclusion of a USB drive on the front because it's quick access and quickly to take it out and move on. Also, if you feel the need or you feel like trying it out, you can use the Hyper Backup software that's included within the Diskstation Manager operating system of these NAS drives. Hyper Backup will allow you to say, okay, I want a backup to happen on Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 4 o'clock, and I want it to back up to such and such location, whether it be an external drive, cloud storage or another NAS. The choice is completely up to you. You'll find a common theme when it comes to Synology and their NAS drives. Their operating system just operates on a whole different level to its competitors. So easy to use, gets the job done, never really have any problems with it, and it's just a clean, well-built system. And this NAS drive makes use of that very well. Okay, so let's take a look at the back of the device now. There is a 92mm fan that will keep things nice and cool for the duration of the time that you will be using it, which, if you're buying a device like this, you're probably going to keep it on 24/7 all the time. Let it run in the background in your house. The fan and the device will be able to do that with no problems. It won't get too hot and it will be able to perform exactly as you expect it to. Also included are two 1GB RJ45 ports, as well as a reset button if you need to just change things back to how they were when you took it out of the box. We've all been there, you tweak things a little bit too much, you just want to start again, you got a factory reset button on the back of the device. You're going to have to take a paperclip or a small pin in order to enable this, but the chances are if you get to that stage where you need a factory reset, you're going to be able to find the instruments for the job and you're going to be thankful that it's there. Now, as soon as I said there are two 1GB RJ45 ports, I'm well aware that some of you may be disappointed that this device does not feature the new 10GB Ethernet standard. However, I can see why for this particular drive they've decided to go to the cheaper, slower standard, and that's purely because this device is meant for those that are trying to make their backup solution a bit more serious, a bit more configured, however they don't want to break the bank. And in order to not break the bank and include NVMe, in order to include both the drive bays and the speed and the specs that it has, you have to make sacrifices somewhere, and this is where they've decided to do so. I feel like Synology are trying to get the balance right between cost and features that the consumers will actually use. It would have been nice to see the newer technology and the 10GB Ethernets. However, you have to be conscious when choosing newer technology and the price that it's going to cost, and the features that Synology can then include in these drives to be able to sell it to you, and then obviously you wanting to buy it. So it's all a balancing act. Maybe this is a part where they've got it a little bit wrong. Maybe you're okay with that. Depends entirely on your needs. just be very, very aware that the RJ45 ports are 1 gigabit, not 10. And for the price you're paying for this NAS drive, just have a quick think about it to make sure it's suitable for you. Also included on the back is an eSATA port, which is extremely valuable if you're going to want to eventually expand the storage out using one of Synology's expansion units. Ultimately, you could end up having a backup or a NAS system that includes up to 7 drives. That's 2 of the obviously original drive bays, as well as 5 on the extension. That's why this eSATA port is extremely valuable, and is again another pointer that suggests that this NAS drive is meant for those people that want to have a really, really good network attached storage drive, as well as all of the bells and whistles that comes with it. However, you might not want to be breaking the bank immediately, so you go with the 2-bay, you feel it out for a bit, you check out the Synology operating system, you check out the drives you want to use, and then you add on, eventually getting to the point where you're happy with your setup. That's the intention of this device, and the eSATA port is such a great addition, works perfectly well, and it will be very useful for the long run with this device. And we also have another USB port. You can't have too many of those. What I like to do on the back of the NAS drives with the USB 3 port is plug in an external hard drive to the back one and just rest it on top. Because why not? You have the space on top of the NAS drive, you've got a USB port, you've got the area of your either network cabinet or your home infrastructure, I guess you could call it that. You might as well just add an external hard drive on top. They're cheap, you can connect it and implement it into your Synology way of life. So why not just add an extra hard drive with the extra USB? You've then got the Kensington security slot as well as the power port. The NAS is going to be for those of you that still want to have a serious backup and an overall NAS setup. However, maybe you don't want to put down quite a bit of money to start with. If that's the case, then this NAS is a great starter, as it allows you to slowly build up to the point of adding an expansion drive here and there, and ultimately when you decide, okay, I've got my setup going, I've got my drives in there, I've got my bays sorted, you can increase the speed by adding the NVMe's underneath. And obviously the SSD cache or cache using the NVMe's is probably the main selling point of this NAS drive, because it takes a personal home edition NAS and turns it into an enterprise grade with enterprise speeds. Okay, you may have noticed I was getting a bit technical there, so let's go ahead and talk about the technical specs. The CPU is an Intel Celeron J4125 4-core 2.0 GHz CPU. You've got 2 GB of DDR4 installed RAM. However, you can expand this up to 6 GB if you like. There is only one single memory slot on here, which is a little bit odd and a little bit disappointing if I'm honest, because you've obviously got 2 ports in general. However, the first port is hidden behind the drive slots, so you only really have access to the one single port and up to 6 GB. It won't really affect your day-to-day use, but it is worth noting you can expand the memory, but not by much. You can fit 2 3.5-inch or 2.5-inch SATA hard drives or SSDs in the main bays, and obviously, as I mentioned earlier, you can add 2 M.2 2280 NVMe SSDs on the underside of the NAS, which is going to blow the performance out of the water with the device. Adding in the NVMe SSDs are going to bring the performance to a whole new level when you're ready. You can fully operate this NAS drive without ever having to put an NVMe SSD in it. However, the option's there, and let's be honest, you're going to use that option and use this NAS drive to its full potential. On the screen now you can see all of the networking protocols that are supported. In terms of storage management, the maximum single volume size achievable with this device is 108 terabytes. Using Synology's expansion drive, you can eventually go up to having 7 drive bays. Yes, 7 drive bays, if you choose. As I've mentioned a few times in this video, I think the whole purpose of this device is to allow you to slowly introduce yourself to the idea of having more drives, faster performance, and just a staggered approach to an overall powerful NAS drive, rather than doing it all at once and spending all that money. With the inclusion of NVMe SSD support, SSD cache or cache is fully supported. Not like you didn't know that by now, already probably 10 minutes into the video. We move on. You may hear all these words like SSD, M.2, NVMe, and not really be sure what benefits you get from this. Well, I'm going to take a snippet from Synology's website to sum up how exactly NVMe SSD cache or cache makes things better and faster. So here we go. And I quote, "By leveraging the superior random access performance of solid state drives, SSDs, Synology SSD cache or cache technology provides a solution to enterprise challenges which boosts read and write speeds without adding to the overall number of disks. In terms of read operations, statistically, only a small portion of data in any given storage system is accessed frequently. System performance can therefore be improved by storing frequently accessed data on the SSD cache to create a read buffer while maintaining total cost of ownership at a minimum. Small, random write operations are also common in enterprise workloads. With excellent random access, SSD read-write cache can accelerate the performance of volumes and iSCSI LUNs, reduce the latency of random write operations, and also greatly reduce any impact on the performance of other data transfers. I myself, apart from doing YouTube, I am a full-time IT professional. I won't go into details because obviously that's my personal stuff. Anyway, I've seen loads of NAS drives in the wild, and I've seen small to medium businesses complain about, okay, we've got this NAS drive, we've got all of this storage, but it's kind of quite slow when various people access it. Well, that's what the M.2 SSD cache can resolve and will resolve. It will allow you to handle all the operations that a NAS drive typically does much faster and be very noticeable for the end user. You really do have to give credit to the Synology Diskstation Manager, their operating system. It is the best NAS operating system, and Synology know this, which is why they roll it out across all of their devices and frequently get touted as the go-to of NAS drive software. It's just so easy to use, there's very little learning curve, and it just makes sense where things are, that it's easy to navigate. You can access all of the powerful tools, you can access the whole of the Synology App Store, you can unlock the backups and this and that. It's just there for you to explore and just realize that it's a damn good asset to have in a NAS drive. Are you a big multimedia buff and you like having all of your pictures, your videos, everything like that all in one place? This is a perfect device for setting something up like a Plex server or a video station server where you can have all of it in one place and stream it from. Obviously there are different apps you can try, you don't have to use Plex. I just did it myself, I put in a couple of 8TB drives, you put all of your movies, your images, your videos. It just becomes a central hub for your multimedia, and it's probably one of the main things people use NAS drives for besides basic file storage. You can also use one of the many apps available in the Synology App Store or the marketplace, depends on what you want to call it, to achieve similar results. I personally choose to use Plex. There are other options you can use NAS drives for. You can have your cameras recording and use the suite of tools that Synology give you to be able to manage and maintain the recordings of your cameras. There's just too much to say that you can do with this NAS drive in one video. Just know that whatever you're looking to do in terms of network attached storage, I really do feel like this NAS will be probably the latest and greatest to do that. Because as I said before, don't be put off by the fact that it's only got 2 drives. You've got the eSATA port on the back, you've got your fast upgradable RAM, you've got your NVMe cache. It's made for, okay, you get the drive, you plug it in, you get it going, you're happy with the configuration. You slowly start to develop it, you add more files on there, you need faster performance. Okay, so you add better disks in there. Time goes on, you need better performance. You add the RAM in, time goes on, NVMe cache or cache. It's just meant for being very, very future-proof. Obviously there's a price to pay for that, which I'm sure if you Google the price of this drive, you'll realize it's not the cheapest in the world, but you do certainly get what you pay for. I had a great time testing this NAS drive. It actually made me realize that, okay, maybe Synology is setting the standard when it comes to network capabilities, total device specifications. I would have liked to see 10 gigabit RJ45 ports. I would have liked to see more customization in terms of the RAM at least, and various upgrades and tweaks. I understand that they're trying to keep the specifications at a very linear and universal level, just so they can guarantee certain performance metrics when it comes to selling these devices. I don't really have anything else to say about these devices apart from whatever you're looking to do in terms of storage, NAS drives, accessing it various applications in terms of media. I have no doubt whatsoever that this NAS drive is one of the best of its class. Obviously all of that depends on what disks you put in there and how you upgrade it and how you use it. You buy the drive, you plug it to power, you plug it to network. The setup of the NAS is a piece of cake. You make sure it's on your network with power. You then use the Synology Finder to discover the device. You then go through a series of wizards which are essentially just next, yep, okay. It will take about 5 minutes and then bang, you have your NAS drive all set up. This is essentially an enterprise grade NAS with a consumer basic level feel. And by that I mean it's very approachable, very easy to use, and I'm sure you will find plenty of ways to use it. If you have any questions about this NAS and the way it works and what the specs are, or want any more information about the dimensions, anything like that, please leave it in a comment below and I'll do my best to get you the information that you're looking for. Hopefully during the course of this video you've got the information you wanted to about this NAS drive, but please do feel free to leave a comment about any other questions you have, because I understand that NASs are quite a technical beast. You're not going to hear about everything you want to hear in this video. However, I'm open to be reached out to. Thank you very much for watching. This has been Adam from Ads Productions with the review of the Synology DS720 Plus NAS drive.